We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. As you can see, there's quite a bit more that comes after that. This is not the preamble of the U.S. Constitution, but it is the opening paragraphs of Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence. As you can see in here, there are a lot of words that may be unfamiliar to you. Unalienable, endowed, self-evident, governments, the phrase consent of the governed. Before we get into the lessons over the next couple of days, I'm going to create these videos picking out 2 or 3 words, and those words I'm going to give you definitions of and we're going to talk about right now. I'm going to produce a number of these videos and you'll have your leisure to look at them, to review them later, even before the test. Now let me pull out this document so you can see the people behind this image. I want to point out these people because the government that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks is the U.S. government. And you have here in the picture, you have George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, General Henry Knox, and Edmund Randolph. Together, these 5 individuals made the first cabinet of the United States. Now, a cabinet is another concept we will talk later about, but right now we're going to talk about 3 words. We're going to start with society. We're going to move to contract, and then we're going to look at government. These 3 words form the basic concepts that we're going to be reviewing. We're going to look at society first, and I already took the time to find us a quick definition. Here it is. Society is the aggregate of people living together in more or less ordered community. Now, what does that mean? Give me a second. I'm going to draw some pictures right here on the computer in this little empty space right here. Draw one stick figure, a second stick figure, and now with these 2 people, you have a group. Generally, when groups meet or are formed, one person or one individual tends to ask the other individual to do work for them. And when you add more people into that group, sorry, I'm drawing like my son. When you ask more people to join into that group like this, they form some sort of process or community with an organization that tends to have one person who becomes the big boss, in this case the man with the hat, and the other 3 who become their workers. That leads us to the next phrase, the next word, which is going to be contract. Let me just move the camera a little bit here. So now, fortunately I lost our 3 people. Let's bring them back. There are 1, 2, and 3. I think there were more in the other one, but 3 will be enough. And we gotta give one guy our hat. Okay, so there's a relationship between these 3 people. We're going to call that relationship a contract. A contract, as it shows you up here, is a written or spoken agreement, especially one concerning employment, sales, tenancy. Tenancy is another word that we'll look at later, but it means rent. You're a tenant in a person's house. That is intended to be enforceable by law, or in this case, enforceable by the relationship, right? Because you work for the dude with the hat, the king, or your boss, he agrees to provide you with food, shelter, and protection. You agree to continue to work for him and support him, and that's a contract. And that contract leads us to the next word, which is government. And as you can see here, a government is the governing body of a nation, state, or community. Now, in looking at all of this, I noticed that we really need to look at one other word that I hadn't started with, right? And that word would be govern. Here we are talking about a government. We just talked about a contract. And in our discussion of those two words, we covered a different concept. And let me move that camera again so you can see how to spell govern. And as you can see, govern shows up in the word government. And here, I'll just draw it out for you. M-E-N-T. You can see that govern is the conduct or actions of state. Right? It's the control, the influence, or the regulations, or the agreement to allow control, influence, or regulation by one group or one individual over the rest of the group. And that's what we showed. The gentleman with the hat, our king, had the power to tell our other people in there what to do or how to work. Right? Those are our three big words we're going to look at. We looked at government, we looked at contract, and we looked at society. Together, these three words, or four words, form the basic concept of what the U.S. government and what our friends over here, Mr. Washington, Mr. Jefferson, Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Knox, and Mr. Randolph attempted to create when they kept moving with the Constitution. And we're going to cover that tomorrow. Thank you, and hope you enjoyed this.